personal obsession, and at Nokia Design we think a lot about is how you design for true mobility, not portability or luggability. And let me explain what I mean by that. Is currently big touchscreen devices, the user interfaces on these are immersive. You have to use them with your head down. And you'll even, once you start looking for this in the world, you'll see it everywhere. You'll see couples seated in restaurants with their head down, stroking their touch screens and not looking each other in the eye. And there's a role for immersive use, but increasingly, I think we need to design to give people their head up again. And what I mean by that is better UIs that don't require your full attention. So that means glanceable user interfaces, things that allow the human computer to do some of the work. So we can take a look, hear an audio signal, interact. It certainly has to do with multi-modal interaction, voice interaction with the devices, but it's not only a voice user interface. So how do we design interaction so that people can be really mobile, with their head up, look people in the eye, also be in the real urban environment, as opposed to heads down? That's a passion we have. Our current view of artificial reality is kind of like goggles, and computer, show me what's around. And sure, I think that's a great application for 3D user interfaces, overlaying data on maps and displaying visual richness and data richness on top of maps and the sort of urban landscape. But on the whole, we're talking about critically one-handed use, which is really that act of getting on your bicycle, texting with one hand, doing that, flipping it kung fu smooth into the pocket, right? And that's how do we bring the additional augmentation to those kinds of interactions rather than let me hold up the big screen and be naturally here in the city environment. There's a common dogma or misperception that we're in smartphones. We're in the smartphone industry. We're at a period where we already have the dominant design, and I don't think that's the case. We're more in this phase in the industry where we're figuring out whether there's a steering wheel, where is it placed, where's the gear shift, is it on the wheel like in the Formula One that some Finns drive, or on the gear shift, where is the reverse? So we're just figuring out the placement of the controls and the functionality and how it's working. That's important. I think we're in the pre-dominant design phase, and I think it's the job of for us to look for those other dominant patterns of interaction that handle basic things like starting activities, switching between activities, and handling the notifications that come in, and making room for that. We're definitely in the period where we're still looking for those dominant designs, and that's an exciting time to be. It's a real inflection point in terms of design in the industry.